All right, we have arrived at part 5 of my series on how Taylor Swift is our modern day Alexander Hamilton. This may be the last major installment of this. I'm not sure how much more I have to say, but I had one more big topic I wanted to talk about, and that is dueling, battling, right? I think to me this is yet another way that the two of them are similar. Of course, context matters, so this is going to be a different story for Alexander than it is for Taylor. But we'll start with Alexander. So Hamilton was a prolific, famous dueler. Now, it wasn't just the Burr duel that he had. I've read as many as 10 duels that he may have been involved in. Now, some of those were settled potentially with words, some without shots fired, some without an attempted kill shot where the people just shot in the air. But he was a very prolific dueler. He was willing to throw down with anyone who disagreed with him. He was a bit of a hothead. He was also a talented soldier. And at the time, dueling was a way to settle disputes. And he was very willing to do it. And got involved in quite a few, of course, the most famous being the Burr duel, which he did not survive. But Hamilton was one that was willing to throw down with his words, with his actions, and with a gun to settle his disputes. Publicly, loudly, he would write papers to debate people in the press. So Hamilton was, again, prolific dueler. Okay, so for Taylor, this is going to take a bit of a different context. We're not shooting guns at each other nowadays to settle disputes in a duel, but Taylor is very willing to throw down publicly with other people. I'm going to go back to, as an older Swiftie, to Dear John, right? Which, when she wrote that song, the reactions to that were pretty intense. I mean, who does she think she is, calling out a bigger artist than her? Right at the time, John Mayer was arguably bigger than Taylor. Who is she calling this guy out for, right? And obviously today we appreciate her candor, but people didn't write that way. People weren't that blunt and that direct, but Taylor was. Taylor is. She still is, right? But we think about the Kanye stuff, right? She could have let that go. Instead, she wrote the song Innocent and kept it going. It's still going. Thank you, Amy, just showed up on our doors. So yeah, I think you see both in Taylor and in Alexander, people who are willing and eager, maybe in a way, to have these public disputes. A bit of a death wish in terms of Alexander, a real death wish. Taylor, maybe a career death wish at times. People might have looked at it that way. But at the end of the day, this is something they have in common. They are willing to throw down. They'll do it publicly. They'll do it through their expression, their writing, their art, their songs. So there you go. Taylor, Alexander, both willing to duel.